White House opposes ICC investigation on Israel's campaign in Gaza. Spanish PM walks back from resignation threat. Good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. I'm SAHIH and this is World Today. The United States said that it opposed the International Criminal Court's ICC investigation into Israel's conduct in Gaza amid reports that Israel officials fear the Hague-based tribunal could soon issue arrest warrants. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reportedly raised the issue with US President Joe Biden in a call at the weekend.
We've been really clear about the ICC investigation. We do not support it. We don't believe that they have the jurisdiction, and I'm just going to leave it there for now.
The New York Times quoted Israeli officials as saying that Netanyahu himself could be among those charged, while the court was also weighing charges against leaders of Hamas. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre declined to comment on reports that Washington had reached out the ICC to warn that the issuing of any warrants could derail moves to reach the ceasefire and hostage deal between Israel and Hamas. The ICC has not commented on the reports, but a series of Israeli officials has in recent days said any attempt by the court to take any action against Israel would be outrageous. The ICC opened a probe in 2021 into Israel as well as Hamas and other armed Palestinian groups for possible war crimes in the Palestinian territories. The court has previously issued warrants for national leaders, most recently Russian President Vladimir Putin, over the invasion of Ukraine. Although the prospects of actual arrest remain slim in such cases, warrants can make it difficult for leaders to travel abroad. Student demonstrators at Columbia University, the epicenter of pro-Palestinian protests that have erupted at US colleges, said they would not budge until the school met their demands, defying an ultimatum to disperse or face suspension. More than 350 people were arrested at campuses across the United States over the weekend, with the White House calling on the demonstrations to remain peaceful. Authorities at Columbia in New York issued a statement on Monday saying the protesters' encampment must be cleared and rejecting a call to divest financial holdings linked to Israel. However, student protesters pushed back, vowing to defend their camp on the prestigious institution's main lawn, despite threats of suspensions and disciplinary action after a 2 p.m. local time deadline. At Virginia Tech, more than 90 people were arrested late Sunday after refusing an order from campus police to disperse. While at the University of Texas, state troopers in riot gear clashed Monday with protesters who attempted to set up an unauthorized encampment on the campus. For almost 2 weeks now, a wave of protests against Israel's war in Gaza has swept through US university campuses from coast to coast. Firefighters battle a blaze an educational institution in the Ukrainian Black Sea port of Odessa after it was struck by a Russian missile on Monday. The attack left 4 dead and 28 others injured. Regional Governor Ole Keper said 4 of the injured were in serious conditions and receiving urgent treatment. He said the injured included 2 children and a pregnant woman. Ukrainian Navy spokesperson Dmytro Platachuk, in a posting on a military channel, said the strike was conducted by an Iskander-M ballistic missile with a cluster warhead. These missiles are harder to intercept. Public broadcaster Suspilane said the roof of the building, described as a law academy, had been nearly destroyed. Odessa has been a frequent target of Russian missile and drone attacks, particularly port infrastructure. The airstrikes by Moscow, carried out with ballistic missiles and cruise missiles fired by Russian strategic bombers based in the Arctic Circle, are the 4th large-scale aerial assault targeting the power system since the last week of March. NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg told Ukrainians on Monday that his alliance members had failed to live up to their promises of military aid in recent months, but said the flow of arms and ammunition would now increase. In an unannounced visit to Ukraine, the Secretary General of the Transatlantic Military Alliance held talks with President Volodymyr Zelensky and was due to address Ukraine's parliament. Stoltenberg pointed to the United States Congress now having approved a Ukraine aid package worth more than $60 billion, swiftly signed into law by President Joe Biden, and an announcement last week by British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak of a record-high commitment to Kiev. Zelensky told a joint press conference in Kiev alongside Stoltenberg that the situation on the battlefield directly depended on the speed of ammunition supplies to Ukraine. Stoltenberg said it was not too late for Ukraine to win the war, despite its outmanned and outgunned military struggling in the face of Russian advances while waiting for stalled weapons deliveries from allies. Spain's Pedro Sanchez said he would stay on as Prime Minister after threatening to stand down over what he denounced as a campaign of political harassment. The 52-year-old socialist leader said in a highly anticipated public address that drew a line under uncertainty that had gripped Spain for 5 days.
He decidido seguir con más fuerza si cabe al frente de la presidencia del Gobierno de España. Esta decisión no supone un punto y seguido, es un punto y aparte, se lo garantizo. Por eso asumo ante ustedes mi compromiso de trabajar sin descanso, con firmeza y con serenidad por la regeneración pendiente de nuestra democracia y por el avance y la consolidación de derechos y de libertades.
In office since 2018, Sanchez dropped a political bombshell, saying he would consider resignation after a court confirmed a preliminary probe into his wife Begona Gomez for suspected influence, peddling and corruption. The complaint was triggered by an anti-graft NGO with ties to the far right. Denying his move was a political calculation, Sanchez called for a public reflection on a growing political polarization, which he said was being driven by deliberate disinformation. His decision to stay was decisively influenced by the mass show of support from his Socialist Party. He said the campaign of misinformation had sought to turn him into public enemy number one and predicted it would be intensified. Scotland's First Minister Humza Yousaf resigned as leader of the Scottish National Party SNP on Monday and said he had ordered a contest be held to select a replacement. Yousaf said he had informed the SNP's National Secretary of his intention to stand down as party leader. He also asked that a leadership contest for his replacement to commence as soon as possible. Yousaf said that meanwhile he would continue to serve as First Minister until a successor has been elected. Yousaf quit as head of the pro-independent Scottish National Party (SNP) after a week of chaos triggered by his scrapping of a coalition agreement with Scotland's Greens. He then failed to secure enough support to survive votes of no confidence against him expected later this week. Resigning little over a year after he replaced Nicola Sturgeon as First Minister and SNP leader, Yousaf said it was time for someone else to lead Scotland's devolved government. Voting went underway in legislative elections in Togo on Monday following approval of constitutional reforms by the outgoing parliament that could extend the current 19-year rule of President Faure Ghassinabe. Under a new charter adopted in March introducing a parliamentary system of government, the president will be elected by parliament instead of by universal suffrage. Opposition parties are taking part hoping to gain seats that will enable them to challenge Ghassinabe's Union Party after they boycotted the last legislative poll and left effectively in control of parliament. Monday's vote had been pushed back twice because of a fierce backlash from some opposition parties who called the constitutional changes a political maneuver to allow Ghassinabe to extend his tenure for life. Over 4 million people are registered to vote for 113 lawmakers among 2,352 candidates, with provisional results are expected from Tuesday. Togo has seen years of resistance to Ghassinabe's grip on power, who was first elected 19 years ago to succeed his father, Ghassinabe Eyadema, who took office in a coup in 1967. Violent police crackdowns on political demonstrations have been routine under Ghassinabe, as they were during his father's rule. Still ahead, at least 4 law enforcement officers killed in shootout. Stay with us. At least 4 law enforcement officers were shot dead while another 4 were wounded in Charlotte, North Carolina. A suspect was found dead. Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department Chief Johnny Jennings said that the officers who were killed were part of a U.S. Marshals Task Force comprising officers from multiple agencies.
For the city of Charlotte,
Jennings said the law enforcement officials were met with gunfire while serving a warrant on a convicted felon wanted for possessing a firearm at around 1:30 p.m. local time. The fugitive was himself fatally shot during the gunfight, and 2 other suspects were arrested after an ensuing standoff. The officers discovered a 17-year-old and a woman inside the house and were brought to the police station as persons of interest. In addition to the 4 officers killed, Jennings said 4 members of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department who responded to the scene were shot. 1 officer is in critical condition while the other 3 are currently stable. At least 25 people were killed and more than 13 were injured when a bus plunged 200 meters deep into a ravine from a mountain road in northern Peru. According to local authorities, the incident happened on a pothole road in the Andean region of Cajamarca. The bus was heading to the town of Soruco on Sunday evening when it overturned and crashed down a slope into a river. Municipal officer Jaime Herrera said the bus with more than 50 passengers ended up on the edge of a river. Some of those on board were swept away by the water. The municipality declared 48 hours of mourning as dozens of people gathered at a police station desperate for news of their loved ones. Accidents are frequent on Peruvian roads due to speeding, poor road conditions, lack of signs, and poor enforcement of traffic rules. Last year, the country registered more than 3,100 deaths from traffic accidents. At least 2 people have died of suspected heat stroke in the southern Indian state of Kerala, based on reports by local media as the country battles temperatures soaring to record levels. A 90-year-old woman and a 53-year-old man died in Kerala on Sunday as temperatures soared to 41.9 degrees Celsius, nearly 5.5 degrees Celsius above normal. Scientists have said climate change is contributing to more frequent, severe and longer heat waves during summer months. Temperatures across Kerala at India's southern tip were expected to be higher than normal, causing authorities to issue warnings asking people to take precautions against the heat, such as staying indoors. In neighbouring Tamil Nadu state, a local politician was handing out fresh fruit, coconuts and cold drinks in Chennai to help people keep cool. India's weather department has predicted more heatwave days than normal between April and June, when the monsoon will hit and temperatures usually fall. Flash floods and a landslide in central Kenya killed at least 45 people and injured over 110 others on Monday as floodwaters swept away houses and cars in the town of Mai Mahiu. Police initially blamed the flooding on a burst dam. However, the government, via the Ministry of Water, later said it was caused by a river tunnel under a railway embankment becoming blocked with debris. Hours after the rain had let up and floodwaters began to recede, local residents pulled motorcycles and household belongings from the mud while searching for missing loved ones. Others recovering from their wounds at a local hospital spoke of water carrying their families into the night without hope of seeing them alive again. The deaths have brought the overall toll across Kenya from heavy rains and flooding since last month to over 140. More than 185,000 people have been displaced so far. Samsung Electronics said that its first quarter operating profit had risen nearly tenfold year-on-year, a 931.8% increase amid recovering chip prices and growing demand. The company said its operating profit increased to US $4.85 billion as the memory business returned to profit by addressing demand for high value-added products. The company added that the strong performance came on the back of strong sales of flagship Galaxy S24 smartphones and higher prices for memory semiconductors. The sales were up to 12.8% on year to $52.24 billion. The company said the crucial area had returned to profit and grown by addressing the demand across servers, storage, PC and mobile. The success comes from high value-added products such as HBM, DDR5, server SSDs, and UFS 4.0, along with the increase in ASP high-tech memory chips. Samsung's net profit of $4.9 billion exceeded market expectations, which had been estimated at $3.62 billion. Samsung's overall outlook is secured by a resurgence in the smartphone market, escalating DRAM prices, and a modest decline in US federal interest rates. Thailand's Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin met with Brunei Sultan Hassan Al Bolkiah on Monday in Bangkok, where both countries signed agreements to boost investment and tourism. Sultan Hassan Al Bolkiah was greeted with a welcoming ceremony and inspected a guard of honor with Srettha before both delegations sat down for talks. Thailand and Brunei Darussalam share enduring ties based on goodwill cooperation since establishing diplomatic relations on 1st January 1984. As Thailand and Brunei commemorate their 40th anniversary in diplomatic relations this year, the two nations are looking forward to further strengthening their bilateral cooperation and bolstering economic cooperation. In a joint statement, both country leaders expressed satisfaction with the long-standing cordial relations. The leaders also encouraged more exchanges of visits between the government and private sectors at all levels to maintain the positive momentum in bilateral relations. Sultan Hassan Al Bolkiah is in Bangkok, Thailand for a 2-day official visit which ends today. Up next in sports, Malaysia bow out of Uber Cup following defeat to Thailand. Stay tuned. Starting off our sports segment this afternoon, Malaysia once again exited early from the Uber Cup following a 0-5 drubbing by 2018 runner-up Thailand in their second Group B fixture at the Chengdu High-Tech Zone Sports Centre yesterday. Malaysia fielded second singles K. Lachana as the main single player, replacing Goh Jinwei, while Siti Nur Shuhaini Azman was called on to play as third singles. Lachana, ranked 68th, could not keep up with world number 16 Supinada Katitong and suffered a straight set loss 17-21, 6-21 that put Thailand ahead after the first match. Thailand went to 2-0 up when the country's main women's double, led by team captain Teo Mei Zin and Goh Pee Ki, succumbed to world number 10 pair Jongklopan Kitty Rakul Rawinda Pujingai 10-21, 14-21 in 33 minutes. World number 18 Pornpawi Chongchu Wong dashed any hope of Malaysian's comeback as she rose to the occasion to secure the third point for her country after dispatching Wong Lee Ching 21-11, 21-15 in straight games. Thailand continued their dominance when Latsika Kanlaha Paitamas Moon Wong took just 29 minutes to see off Chan Wen Si Tan Zing Yi 21-12, 21-8, while Busanan Ongbar Pungpan concluded a fine day for them as she outclassed Siti Nur Shuhaini Azman 21-5, 21-8. In football, Bayern Munich manager Thomas Tuchel has urged the home fans to create a special atmosphere for the Champions League semi-final first leg clash with Spanish giants Real Madrid on Tuesday as his side chases a 7th European crown. Bayern advanced into the last 4 of the Champions League for the first time since winning the tournament in 2020, while record 14 times champion Madrid last took home the trophy in 2022.
Wir brauchen einfach die Zuschauer, dass sie auch dabei sind, dass sie das Spiel atmen, dass sie das Spiel leben, dass sie uns unterstützen in Momenten, wo es schwierig ist, dass auch für die Zuschauer klar ist, ein gewonnener Zweikampf, ein geblockter Schuss, ein abgelaufener Konter. Wir brauchen einfach auch dort die maximale Unterstützung.
Tuchel will have a few injury doubts to key players going into the clash, including 21-year-old playmaker Jamal Musiala. Meanwhile, Real Madrid manager Carlo Ancelotti said his side will not make the mistake of looking past Bayern, despite their rivals' disappointing domestic campaign.
Yo creo que si tengo que decir algo de Thomas Tuchel, es un gran entrenador, joven, que tiene a nivel estratégico espectacular. Sus equipos están muy bien entrenados, muy bien preparados. Tengo mucho respeto y mucho cariño para él. Nada más.
The 14 times champion made the last four after knocking out holders Manchester City on penalties and are close to a record-extending 36th La Liga title as they sit top with 13-point lead over second-placed Girona with 5 games left. Brazilian defender Thiago Silva on Monday announced his departure from Chelsea at the end of the season after 4 years at the Premier League club. The 39-year-old joined from Paris Saint-Germain on a free transfer in August 2020 and has made 151 appearances for Chelsea, winning the Champions League, Club World Cup and Super Cup. Silva was a popular figure among Chelsea fans after making an immediate impact in their 2020-2021 Champions League winning campaign, which climaxed with victory over Manchester City in the final in Porto. The fond feelings are clearly mutual as Silva saluted the fan base and revealed his intention to return to Chelsea in a different capacity in the future. Capped 113 times by Brazil, Silva has made 34 appearances in all competitions for Chelsea this season. But the former AC Milan star suffered a groin problem in Chelsea's 2-2 draw at Aston Villa on Saturday, raising the possibility that he has made his last appearance in the blue shirt. Mauricio Pochettino's side have 5 games left this season as they look to salvage a disappointing season by securing European qualification. Premier League clubs have reportedly agreed in principle to introduce a spending cap to limit the gap in financial muscle between sides at the top and bottom of the English top flight. Clubs will be limited to spending a multiple of the amount of money accrued in television rights by the lowest earning club in the Premier League. It was reported that the anchoring plan will be capped at 5 times the lowest earning side received via the Premier League's broadcast deals. Official figures for last season show the bottom club, Southampton, were paid £104 million in TV money. Clubs are expected to be assured that any cap would not cause any of them to reduce spending from their present level. The plan received at least the 14 votes necessary for the 20 clubs to be approved. However, defending champions Manchester City, Manchester United and Aston Villa are among those to have reportedly rejected the proposal, with Chelsea said to have abstained. If approved at an annual general meeting in June, the new model will replace the controversial Profit and Sustainability Regulations (PSR) from the 2025-2026 season. On to tennis, Rafael Nadal survived a second set wobble to defeat Pedro Cachin 6-1, 6-7, 6-3 in the Madrid Open third round on Monday. Nadal, who beat 10th-seed Alex de Minaur in the second round, held his nerve as he was tested by the 91st-ranked Argentine, who won his maiden ATP title at the 2023 Swiss Open. Number 2, Jannik Sinner overcame some discomfort and a less-than-perfect serving performance. The Russian world number 17, Karen Khachanov, next as he targets a third Masters 1000 title. In the women's category, world number 1, Iga Swiatek made light work of Spain's Sara Sorribes Tormo in the 4th round of the Madrid Open on Monday, wrapping up an emphatic 6-1, 6-love victory in just over an hour. Swiatek made a poor start as Sorribes Tormo surprisingly broke her serve in the opening game. However, that only spurred her into action as she dominated from there. Swiatek broke back immediately and reeled off 12 straight games to advance 6-1, 6-0. On clay, Swiatek has now won 9 of her 55 WTA 1000 level sets by 6-love, with a remarkable rate of 16.4%, being the highest of any player to have played 10 or more sets in the format's history. Swiatek will face Beatrice Haddad Maya in the last 8 today. Meanwhile, defending champion Aryna Sabalenka ended Danielle Collins' 15-match win streak with 4-6, 6-4, 6-3 victory. Sabalenka struggled to hold the match, however, the momentum greatly shifted to her side in the second set. Hitting with more conviction, Sabalenka reeled off 6 consecutive games to break away from Collins. While Collins would get one of her break deficit backs, she never had a look at closing the gap further. Collins was broken for a 6th time to end the battle, dropping her first match since the second round of Indian Wells to Iga Swiatek. Having come through deciding sets in all 3 of her wins so far, Sabalenka is aiming to lift her 3rd trophy at the WTA 1000 event in 4 years.
Kejohanan badminton Piala Thomas dan Uber 2024. Perlawanan seterusnya, Rabu 1 Mei, 9.30 pagi. Jepun bertemu Indonesia di saluran Oki. Thailand bertemu Chinese Taipei di saluran sukan RTM. 5 petang, Indonesia bertemu India di saluran Oki. Jepun bertemu Chinese Taipei di saluran sukan RTM. Saksikan juga secara berstreaming langsung di RTM Klik.
And with that, we've reached the end of today's afternoon's bulletin. In our top story today, White House opposes ICC investigation on Israel's conduct in Gaza. Do join us again this evening at 8:30 p.m. on TV1 and saluran Berita RTM for more. Till then, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. I'm SAHIH. Goodbye for now.